Franz Wagner has played basketball and looks pretty good doing it. He's ready to take on the world today on Locked On Magic.
You are Locked On Magic, your daily Orlando Magic podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And you are indeed Locked On Magic. Today is August 11th, 2025. My name is Philip Rossman-Reich. I'm the senior writer over at OrlandoMagicDaily.com, credentialed member of the Orlando Magic media since the 2012 season. On today's episode of Locked On Magic, Franz Wagner is ready to take on the world. Well, he's getting there at least. Two Eurobasket prep games under his belt. What we've seen from Franz, what we still need to see from Franz, and what comes next. We'll get to that coming up here in just a moment. First, we want to thank you again for making Locked On Magic part of your day every day. No matter when you listen to us, whether it's first thing in the morning, whether it's right when we upload, we truly appreciate you making Locked On Magic part of your day every day. We truly appreciate all of our Orlando Magic dailies who make Locked On Magic part of their day every day. We're still in summer mode, so we may not be 5 days a week, but once September rolls around, once we get to Labor Day, we're going to be popping in an episode Monday through Friday until the NBA Finals and well beyond that. So hop on now. If you're not subscribed yet, subscribe today. The Locked On Podcast Network, it's your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Friday was the moment we have really all been waiting on. Friday was a big day, a day worth scrambling to download a VPN to mask your IP address so that it's in Germany so that you could watch Franz Wagner play basketball. It is the moment we've waited on all summer, because while the Magic have answered so many questions this offseason, while the Magic have elevated themselves into championship contention, or into at least a conversation about winning a championship that doesn't feel hilarious, the Magic have put themselves in this spot. At the end of the day, it all comes down to how their best players are going to play. And we've talked a lot about Paolo Banchero and where he needs to improve, and narratives that may or may not be true about the way that he plays. Franz Wagner is someone that you both take for granted and know you need more of, and know you need more from. We know what Franz Wagner is going to give this team. But in order for the Magic to elevate themselves to the next level, he needs to be able to shoot the ball and shoot it at a decent rate. And that is not something that we can project. That is not something we can get around. It is something we have to see. And so Franz playing in Eurobasket, and Eurobasket's still 2 weeks away. We still got another 3 weeks away, really. We still got a lot of time before he is playing actual games that count. These are preseason games. These are rough cuts. We aren't going to know what this team's potential is until Franz Wagner takes that floor and shows us where he's at. We are getting a sneak peek of what the Magic are going to get later on this year. And yes, the Magic do have staff with the German national team. Randy Gregory, an assistant coach with the Magic, is an assistant coach on the German national team staff. The Magic are watching this as carefully, if not, hopefully more carefully than we are. And hopefully they don't need a VPN to see these games. Germany took on Slovenia in a pair of friendlies. Luka Doncic played in Friday's game. Listen to our friends at Locked On Lakers for more on that game. He played in Friday's game, did not play in Sunday's game. And again, it's a friendly. There's only so much you can take. They looked and felt like preseason games. The fouling was excessive. That's what you expect in like your first preseason games. It's nothing to go crazy over. And again, we're working our way up and ramping our way up toward the actual tournament in 3 weeks, the games that actually count. And we're going to cover those games like they count, because we're all German national team fans right now. We'll get to Georgia a little bit later on. There's just not a lot of info on Georgia quite yet. But we'll get to all that. Franz Wagner looks ready to take on the world. They're like, watching Franz play is just like comfort food. because you know how he's going to score. It's just aesthetically pleasing to watch him cut through the lane, find a gap, get to the basket, finish with the deftness and quality that he finishes with. It's comfort food. But no matter how much we talk about the ways that he's improved and the ways that he's getting better, it all comes back to his shot. You can't get around it, and he can't get around it. And he's probably not being asked questions about it, and he's probably not so focused on it because his role with the German national team's a little bit different than it is with the Magic. And what the Magic will ask of him is obviously a little bit different than what the German national team's going to ask of him, even if his role is similar. Main scorer, one of the lead creators, doing all of these things. In Germany's 103-89 victory on Friday, Franz Wagner did all the things that we're used to him. 18 points, 7 for 10 shooting from the floor, all in 17 and a half minutes before he fouled out. Again, the fouling on Friday was excessive. But without Dennis Schroeder, without Mauro Low, Franz Wagner was the lead force, the driving force for Germany in that win, for guiding them to a very, not a comfortable win. Luka was Luka. He was very, very good. But Franz was a driving force. I talk about this with Paolo a lot, a consistent drumbeat. So 7 for 10 shooting sounds great. He was 1 for 3 from 3. His first shot, his first field goal was a pull-up three-pointer that looked so smooth. And we'll talk about stats, and I'll talk about his game on Sunday, but this is the place to start. Franz Wagner's shot looks a lot better. That hitch that we all complained about is gone. It looks smooth. It looks, a little bit more vertical, a little bit more up and down. It all looks like it worked. And 1 for 3 from 3 isn't fantastic, but we'll live with that. If he's making 33.3% of his threes, the Magic are mostly going to be happy. Like that'll be enough. More importantly, it looked like he was confident with the shot. He wasn't passing up shots. He was frankly looking and hunting for his shots. And in that game in particular, and again, in these friendlies perhaps, being a little bit more aggressive to take those threes is probably a good thing. Now, again, because Dennis Schroeder was out, because Mauro Low was out, because some of the point guards that Franz would typically play with were not playing in that game on Friday, he's taking a lot of lower quality threes. Pull-ups, not catch and shoot stuff. And that was the case again on Sunday, where Franz again put in a very Franz Wagner-like performance. He again scored 17 points, shot 6 for 13, missed more shots around the basket than he did in the first game. But this time did it without the three-pointer. In an 80-70 win on Sunday, Franz went 0 for 3 from 3. Again, no hitch in the shot. There was one catch and shoot three. It was pretty contested. He's not getting open threes because, again, he has to do a lot of the work. And, Germany, the way Germany's made up, they got a lot more shooters. Franz can work the post a little bit more, which is something he wanted to do. He's playing a little bit more power forward than he would with the Magic because Germany's a little bit of a smaller team this year. Daniel Theis was out for both of these two games. They obviously don't have Mo Wagner. They don't have Isaiah Hartenstein. It's a much smaller team. And so Franz talked about working the post more and being a little bit stronger in the low post during these games. And he indeed played that way. No doubt this was part of the game plan for Germany is Franz is going to work the post and be in the paint a little bit more. This is all encouraging. At the end of the day, yes, I think we want to see Franz make threes, not pretending otherwise. But Franz looks capable of getting to the basket again, has added another dimension in his game with a little bit more post up and a little bit more footwork with his back to the basket. But at the end of the day, we're all watching the three-point shot. And Franz has taken clear steps I think he is moving in the right direction, but through 2 games in the public eye, he's not there yet. And again, so much of this Magic team ceiling is tied to whether Franz takes this step, takes this leap into that next phase. But Franz is ready to dominate Eurobasket like we expect him to. He is ready to put in big performances and lead Germany on a deep tournament run. Now, Germany still has work to do. They'll play in the Super Cup, in the Turkish Airlines Super Cup this weekend on Friday. I believe Friday and Saturday are games. They'll play Turkey on Friday, and then they'll play another game on Saturday. And then they got a pair of friendlies against Spain. And while Spain is not Spain is still Spain. Defending Eurobasket champions. They've won 3 of the last 4 of these tournaments. Big friendly coming up. So we'll still learn a lot about Franz Wagner. But Franz is right where we left him in the spring. And hopefully that 3-point shot starts to come around and he gains some confidence heading back into training camp. So what about the Magic's other German friend? Tristan da Silva looks like he is going to make the roster. I'll explain what we saw from him coming up here in just a moment. But first, today's episode of Locked On Magic is brought to you by our friends over at Game Time. We've all been there, logging on early and waiting forever for concert tickets to go on sale, only to lose your spot for a show you've been dying to see. Live music should be about making memories, not dealing with the stress of ticket shopping. That's where Game Time comes in. Game Time makes getting concert tickets faster and easier than ever. Prices actually drop as it gets closer to showtime, and you can save up to 60% off with their killer last-minute deals. If you're like me and you plan your life around the Orlando Magic schedule, you cannot buy tickets to anything from October to May right now. Frankly, don't plan on buying anything until June. When the schedule comes out, and we'll talk a little bit about the schedule here in a minute, a little later on in the show. When the schedule comes out this week, your dates for October through April suddenly get released. I want to go see Hadestown over Thanksgiving weekend, one of my favorite plays. I can't buy tickets until I get the Magic schedule. But once that Magic schedule comes out, I'm going to be on Game Time checking prices to tickets to see one of my favorite plays at the Dr. Phillips Center. And I'm sure you have a concert that you're waiting to go to as well that you're not quite sure you're ready to buy tickets to because you need that Magic schedule to drop. So save the time and energy, release that stress to know that Game Time has your ticket to that event. Whether it's a concert, a game, a show, whatever, Game Time has you covered. Take the guesswork out of buying concert and show tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Again, terms apply. Create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNBA. That's LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. When the German national team announced that they had added Tristan da Silva to their roster, I was a little bit surprised. I thought Tristan was still maybe another cycle away from joining the national team. I thought that I didn't think he was going to be on this cycle. I thought he would be with them for the World Cup. This just felt like, again, not that he's super young, but felt like he needed a little bit more seasoning. They have a new coach, bring in some familiar faces. Like, this is a very, very established team. And while you want to supplement it with young players, it just from what we saw from Tristan, it felt like, okay, he still needs a little bit of seasoning. He still needs to get a little bit settled into his professional career. But not upset that Tristan da Silva is getting this opportunity, not upset that he is getting this chance to play for the national team. I've said this a million times, and I know we'll get some comments saying, why are these guys risking their bodies to play in these meaningful games? And I'll say this just flat out. My philosophy is, who am I to tell someone not to play for their national team? When your nation like some of us, obviously, like, military service is a huge calling and a huge sacrifice. If this is the thing that you are good at and your nation is calling on you to represent them, you take that, you do it. It's an incredible honor. So I'm not going to sit here and tell a player, hey, don't play for your national team. I'm never going to say that. I think that they, it's their choice ultimately, but I would absolutely say play for your national team if you get the opportunity. It's obviously a huge opportunity. Tristan da Silva, though, is a rookie and very much not a rookie anymore, but he's still a young player getting his feet wet, playing with professionals. And I think that's a big distinction. He's playing with and against professionals. And we saw throughout his rookie year with the Magic how up and down he was. Had a great start to the season, looked really, really comfortable, got thrown into the deep end and really swam well. Did some really good things and helped the Magic win a lot of games. That high water mark, that big win over Boston, he made that 3 to give the Magic a 4-point lead and beat the Celtics with Jalen Suggs out, with Franz Wagner out, with Paolo Banchero out. And then that big game he had in Toronto, I think he had 25 points, made 6 threes. We could all see the potential. But of course, as the season went on, it all tailed off. He ended up shooting worse than 35% from threes, like 33, 32% from three, which again, for this team was pretty good, but he didn't deliver. And at the end of the day, he played only 5 minutes in the playoffs across 2 games. He just was not a factor on the team. He was out of the rotation. And it's very, very clear that Da Silva's going to be important this year. This is a big season for Da Silva. The Magic need Da Silva to deliver. And the way their roster is constructed certainly makes me believe that they believe in Da Silva. But we're going to, again, just like Franz Wagner, we're going to know what we're going to get from Da Silva, or have some idea of what we can expect from Da Silva, because he's going to play in these games. And I'll say this, the way that Germany is using him, the way that he is playing, at least he played in these 2 games, Da Silva is going to be on this roster. He is going to be on the German national team. He's going to play, he'll be on the fringes of the rotation. I wouldn't expect him to play every game, but he's going to play. Da Silva's game on Friday was rough. I just want to preface this. It was rough. I think he scored 6 points, but he had 3 fouls in the first quarter. He was just kind of all over the place. It looked like he was a little nervous to be donning that jersey and to be representing his country. And that's understandable. He was kind of in and out of the rotation. He didn't play a lot in the second half. He played mostly in the first half. And again, foul trouble. Sunday's game was a different story. Sunday's game, he started to look comfortable. Da Silva, like Franz, has not been afraid to let it fly. Now, their shot diets are a little bit different. The kind of shots they're getting are a little bit different. Da Silva was not afraid at all in that game on Sunday. And I thought he played really, really well. When Isak Bonga fouled out, Germany closed a tight game with Slovenia. Germany was down 7 with 7 minutes to go. They held Slovenia to 3 points for the final 7 minutes of the game, or roughly the final 7 minutes of the game. They came back, they stormed back to win the game. Really impressive win for Germany. Da Silva had some big shots. He had a big 3. He scored 7 points in the game. He was behind only Dennis Schroeder and Franz Wagner in scoring. He played really well. Now, I would mention this, just like Summer League, there's definitely this tournament. It's an exhibition game. Let's get a feel for what you could do out on the floor a little bit. So mistakes are bad. Don't make mistakes, but mistakes are still learning opportunities. They're not costing you anything right now. And like Summer League, Da Silva got to a point where he felt confident. And you could see him trying to drive, trying to create, trying to kind of figure out the places that he can go. Now, I would say Da Silva is not ready to do that in real games. I would not want him to do that in real games. He got himself stuck a few times. But you could see it and you could feel the confidence growing. And that's just being comfortable. And I think that's such a big thing for a guy like Da Silva, is to be comfortable, to be in a spot where I've got this. I understand where I'm at. I understand where my teammates are at. I understand the whole picture. And I can begin to see at least where I fit in. That's where Tristan da Silva is getting right now. That's where he is developing, and that's where I think that's where he is going to end up. Now, again, these are just exhibition games. They're 2 games, not a sample, not anything to go crazy over. Da Silva does look like he's going to play on this team, and does look like he'll have a spot in their rotation. And again, it may be different to varying degrees throughout the tournament. It is a very tight window. You play a lot of games in a short amount of time. You're a group of 6. You're going to play 5 games in about 8 days. 5 games. I think they have 1 back-to-back. So it'd be 5 games in 9 days. It's It's a lot. This tournament is a beast, and then it's followed by the single elimination rounds, which are very, very intense. It's all going to be good for Da Silva, especially because he didn't play very much in the playoffs last year. If he gets more comfortable, gets more confident, and really shines in this role, it's going to bode very, very well for the Magic. Now, they got to get there. We got to see it all get there. We got to see it deliver there. And I think that, again, like so many other things, that's the key to watching these Eurobasket games is like, let them be what they are for this team, but know that that's going to roll right into what the Magic are going to do. Both Da Silva and Wagner are playing roles very similar to what the Magic will ask of them. And so, again, we're going to exit this tournament having an idea of what to expect from two key rotation players. And I think that part is really, really important. Since we last spoke, schedule stuff is leaked. So let's talk about what the schedule leaks mean for the Magic and our hopes of being a little bit more forward in the story. We'll talk about that coming up here in just a moment. So during our last episode, I talked a little bit about the story. And like this is a thing that I stress is like we care about being on national TV because it's a status symbol almost. And look, the Magic are not going to get attention just on their brand name. The Magic don't have a brand name in the national scheme of things other than the nostalgia of the 90s. Paolo Banchero, for better or for worse, mostly for worse, does not get the attention that he deserves as a future star in this league. And so all of that's got to be earned by advancing deep in the playoffs and being a key factor in the story of the season. At the end of the day, like my theory on the national television schedule, and like I changed some of the national TV schedule, national TV strategy anyway, because I think it doesn't serve the NBA well. I think it's scared. I think it's scared to make stars, but that's hard to do in this environment. At the end of the day, the NBA's national TV schedule is really about the story the league wants to tell. Who are the teams? Who are the players? Who are the storylines we want to promote? And while, you're not going to be able to promote those A storylines every game, although they try sometimes. The days where it is clear who's a story and you get hints of what the NBA is thinking of the stories they think this season is going to tell, come on the marquee days. And so I believe it was Friday that Shams Charania of ESPN reported the opening night schedule, which will be the Houston Rockets visiting the Oklahoma City Thunder, top two teams in the West last year. Kevin Durant returning to Oklahoma City to see the Thunder raise their first banner. And the Los Angeles Lakers facing the Golden State Warriors, Steph and LeBron. I'm not debating those. That's a good opening night. The Christmas Day schedule was also leaked, with the Cleveland Cavaliers facing the New York Knicks as the lead game, as well as a whole host of Western Conference teams facing off. In fact, Cavs-Knicks is the only Eastern Conference game slated for Christmas Day. To say the least, opening night does not have two East teams playing, and Christmas only has the two East teams facing each other. It feels like the story the NBA is preparing to tell, or the story the NBA anticipates. This will be the first Christmas without the Boston Celtics since 2011, I believe, or 2015. It's been a while. The story that the NBA seems prepared to tell right now is that the best basketball is out West. There are not enough good Eastern Conference teams to merit attention. Now, I understand this. I don't think the Magic deserve a Christmas game. The Magic don't deserve to open the season. They're not high profile enough yet. And it says something then that the Magic are widely predicted to finish third, and they aren't deserving of that moniker. So, of course, no one below them is either. You can maybe make an argument that getting Giannis on Christmas is a good idea. But Tyrese Halliburton's not there. Jason Tatum's not there. The Celtics might be a good brand to still remain on Christmas, but they're not going to be part of the season story. They're on hiatus. They're on injury break. They're not part of the story. The Magic will be a bigger part of the story. They got 5 national TV games when the schedule was announced last year. Like I mentioned in our last episode, I'm expecting that to nearly double. I think I would put the over under at 8. Wouldn't shock me if they get 9 or 10. If they double it, they got 7 at the end of the day last year because of the Milwaukee game and the NBA Cup, as well as the Cleveland game at the end of the season. They'll get more than 7. Or 7 might be a good baseline number to say that's how many they had last year when all was said and done. That's how many they'll get this year. They are part of the story. Not a big part, a secondary part, a mid-card part, but a part of the story nonetheless. But these leaks of the schedule make me think the East isn't a priority. And if the East isn't a priority, that means Orlando's going to get left in the cold. Now, I think the Magic I think a Magic Pistons national TV game would be smart money for not necessarily smart money for the NBA, but a good investment. Feature 2 of your best young teams, 2 of your best young stars going up against each other. Give the national audience a chance to get to know some of the future of the league in those meaningful ways. More likely than not, of those, let's just eyeball it and say 7. Of those 7 national TV games, 2 are probably going to be against the Cavs, maybe 1 or 2 against the Knicks, maybe. You'll probably get a Celtics in there, so I'm already at 5. You probably get the Thunder, that's 6. They're not going to be, maybe the Heat. The Heat would be fun. You're not going to get super imaginative with this. They're going to want to pair the Magic with established brands and established stars to try and pump them up and generate some interest, or be able to sell the other guys if the Magic aren't quite what you thought. That's going to be the reality until the Magic earn that attention and earn that respect with some wins. Be on pace to win 50 games, and you can't be denied. In fact, that's why I think the Magic will get more national TV games, because the Magic are expected to win 50 games. Their over-under for the first time since 2011 is 50 wins. I expect the Magic to win 50 wins. I will be disappointed if the Magic don't get 50 wins this season, barring extenuating circumstances. All this is to say that, again, at the end of the day, you prove yourself on the court. You win games, you get attention. That's what the deal is. And so that's what we'll be watching as the schedule comes out. I am anticipating that the schedule is coming out Wednesday or Thursday. Thursday is what's being widely reported as schedule release day. We will have an NBA schedule this week. That seems pretty certain. That this is the week we get our schedule, that we get to plan our lives for the next 6 months. We'll see where the Magic are in that story. And I think that's going to be the most, the schedule's the schedule, but that's going to be the most interesting thing to me. How much or how involved in the story are the Magic going to be this season? I think they could be pretty involved, but it probably won't be as much as everyone thinks they should be. And the Magic still have a lot to prove on the biggest stage. That's going to do it for me today. I want to thank you all again for listening to today's episode of Locked On Magic. You can, of course, find me on Twitter at PhilipR_OMD and on Blue Sky at PhilipRR. You can subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, Himalaya, Google Play, Spotify, Odyssey, and all the fun ways you download podcasts to your podcast-enabled listening device. You can also check us out on YouTube. Just search for Locked On Magic. For the latest on the Orlando Magic, be sure to check out my Patreon. Be sure to check out OrlandoMagicDaily.com. You can follow us on Twitter at OMagicDaily. And for even more Orlando Magic content, be sure to check out my Patreon page, Orlando Magic Hub, at patreon.com/Orlando Magic Hub. As always, thank you for your support. Now that you're done listening to me, making your first listen of the day, go make Locked On NBA your second listen of the day, because there is no offseason. Doug, Matt, and Hayes keep you up to date on contract negotiations, rumors, and everything you need to be the most informed NBA fan. Find Locked On NBA on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. It's all part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. That's going to do it for me today, though. I want to thank you all again for listening to today's episode of Locked On Magic. On our next episode, we're going to talk a little salary cap stuff, talk about why this season is so important for the Magic and why there's a little bit of skepticism that the Magic made the right move. So we'll talk a little bit about how the Magic have gone all in on the season. We still got a lot more to talk about. I still have a lot of topics to get to over the course of the next few weeks before we really dive into the beginning of the season, start doing player evaluations, our player outlooks. We'll do player previews and player outlooks starting Labor Day. That's kind of Labor Day is kind of when I really start turning toward training camp and the beginning of the season. So we got a lot to get to. Do not worry. There's still plenty of Magic content. Even if I take a few days off here and there, plenty of Magic to get to. Eurobasket's just around the corner. We're excited for that. So stay tuned to Locked On Magic. Subscribe, get those notifications, get into everything. Truly appreciate you all sticking through with me here in the summer. But until next time, for Orlando Magic Daily and Locked On Magic, this has been Philip Rossman-Reich. We'll see you again next time for another episode of Locked On Magic.